our main topic here. Y'all, the Thunderbolts reviews have arrived.
Yes.
And they are pretty stinking glorious. We are at around a 90%. Now, at the time we made our graphic, it was 90%. We've dipped down a little bit to 88.
88 now?
Yeah.
That's because there's 20 more reviews came in since we made the graphic.
Exactly.
But those are still stellar, 88%.
88 is still fantastic for this film. So let's read a couple of these reviews, shall we?
Let's see. Sorry.
That's okay.
There we go. Okay, here we go.
All right. From Bob Shipman over at Movie Bob Central. A Marvel riff on The Boys if it were written for adults instead of edgelord teenagers with oppositional defiant disorder. Whoa.
Wow.
Hot take, Bob. Okay. From Lee McCoy, the characters in Thunderbolts are quite fun and charming. Florence Pugh steals the movie and shines in every scene. I had an inkling. It doesn't necessarily save the current state of the MCU, but it's a start in the right direction. From John Nugent over at Empire Magazine, it doesn't always land, but it dares to be different. From the title to the team up. Fresh and thoughtful in a way recent Marvel efforts haven't always managed. From The Guardian, if it ultimately works all due to Pugh, who can wrestle sincerity out of a screenplay and franchise that has so little, capturing a whole emotional arc in just her moments of silence. Now, we do have some of the ones where we're seeing it didn't fire on all cylinders for him. From, I don't know these publications, Gone with the Twins, but why though? A geek community? All right. Entertaining in all the usual ways, but it can't muster an identity of its own or a novel approach that could make it stand out from the rest, despite the fact that its B team of superheroes is comprised of some A-list character actors. Thunderbolts feels acutely stunned by the limitations levied by its shared universe, where the mold it's forced to fit into obfuscates any new daring lens.
Well, that's probably a commentary on the MCU.
MCU as a whole, I would say.
Constrained.
Sure. Let's see here. From the Sunday Independent. The dialogue doesn't quite snap, crackle, and pop the way it should, but the snarky setup nonetheless holds our attention.
All right. Some of these are like good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I do wonder, are we at a point, and this is just a question I'm posing to everyone, I'm not saying this about Thunderbolts, I'm saying this with movies as a whole. I feel like we have become incredibly judgmental of films. And a lot of times critic scores and audience scores don't mash up, right? But do we also sometimes have that moment of, I mean, it's better than other films I've seen, so yeah, I'll give it a good score. Like,
Yeah,
where do you think we're settling now?
I'm reading a lot of that happening right now with all the reviews. It's kind of disappointing.
The words being chosen aren't glowing like I thought they would be. But the
Yeah.
percentage is such a high number that I feel like, yeah, this seems like an excellent film. I don't know, what can you kind of purse out of that, Rob?
Well, what's so funny is it's interesting to see how the MCU could do no wrong from like 2008 to 2019. You know, so you had this decade plus stretch, and now we're looking. There's a cynicism, there's a malaise. All this stuff has permeated not just the culture, but the idea of Marvel movies as a whole. And I think that that's what Marvel's fighting against. There is a deep cynicism that's taken hold, and I also think that I always talk about movies at scale. Like when I go see a lower budget. Like, I'll give you an example. Barbarian. The movie Barbarian. $4 million movie. When you go into that movie entertains as much as a $100 million movie does. But people aren't expecting it to change their lives.
Right.
They're just like, wow, that was really surprising and fun. But when you go see a movie like Thunderbolts, it's a $200 million movie. I think people expect the light of heaven to open up, the clouds part, and all their problems are swept away by the 2-hour experience of seeing the Thunderbolts. And when that doesn't happen, they're like, And I'm thinking to myself, what are we talking about here? What kind of, were you entertained? Right. But I think there's an expectation that Marvel movies are supposed to provide you with, I don't know, take all of your troubles away, like Calgon. Used to take people's troubles away. I'm an old man, so that's a reference nobody.
Could you see just the fear sweep over of my face?
Calgon,
I went,
take me
what?
away. But that's that's like doing a Love Boat reference. Just so you know, it's that old. But I mean, I think that's the problem with what the expectation of these movies is. Everybody wants now these tentpole movies because of how much money they cost and the expectation that they're gonna change your life. And to me, I find the premise of this within the MCU interesting. I like this group of characters. I love Florence Pugh. I think she's one of the great
She's incredible.
actors of our
Yeah.
time. I mean,
She's
she's
so
amazing.
talented.
She's sexy. She's a
Hey,
fiery pistol.
calm down,
But she
Rob.
can also play. No, she can also play in a period piece if you want. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, she can do anything. And the fact that she anchors the movie makes sense. I want to be wildly entertained by this movie. I'm curious to see how the Sentry is portrayed.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what happens, where the MCU is left at the end of this movie. I'm expecting to go in and have a great time at the picture show. I'm not expecting, all of my ills to be cured in a 2-hour stint I spend inside a movie theater. So I think that I'm going to get out of it what I want, which is to be entertained and have a smile on my face and, have a great time.
Yeah. Jonathan, do these move the needle for you in any way, or?
Well, so far most of them have been like essentially it's like this film's good. It's okay. I mean,
It's a movie.
but I mean honestly, it's like okay, well look, Cinemania has a good one here. A more human reinterpretation of heroism reshapes the future of the MCU, restores our hope with a promising and necessary change of pace. That's okay. That's an actual positive. We've got what is this? Culturist.
Culturist.
On the other hand, on its own merits, Thunderbolts is a surprisingly engaging production, getting a lot of mileage out of a more low-key aesthetic and some strong performances, which is what we kind of take away from the trailers. Alan here says Thunderbolts tries to turn superheroes into therapists, but all it really does is leave fans desperate for proper balls. So what are you looking for there then? Are you only looking for the boom boom? Like
Also,
you have to kind of read into their commentary to see like, well, it's positive or negative. But what is it they're like trying to look for? Because maybe I'm not looking for the same thing out of it that they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah, where are they drawing their expectations from? Is it because Thunderbolts, it's a B team.
Right.
No one knows.
Yeah.
It's not Avengers Thunderbolts. It should. I would think
Or
you shouldn't
is
expect
it?
so much. But then Guardians of the Galaxy maybe have ruined that because no one knew them too, and then they ended up being great movies.
Well, that's another thing you just pointed out that Thunderbolts, there's already something analogous in the MCU, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy. So is Thunderbolts as entertaining as Guardians 1 was?
And also it's the expectations coming from because of the actors. They have such a A-list group of actors, right? And they should bring a good movie. I mean, it's just it's crazy how some of these reviews is like, well, Captain America was awful, so I guess if this one's all right compared to that, you know what I mean?
It's really odd though, but then they'll give it like a 4 out of 5. So it's
Yeah.
like, I think you liked it more than your commentary.
And I'm most disappointed in scanning through them that there's not a lot of mention of the Sentry. So he might just be one of those villains that's just there.
I hope he's not a one and done. And I feel like this just goes back to a thing that you and I have talked about ad nauseum, Rob, of a lot of times we're put in this position to tear art apart
Right.
and have a hard opinion on it, but then still deliver a 4 out of 5. Sure, it's great. And I do wonder sometimes if it's just, can we just take something at face value? Can we
Right.
just say what we like about the thing? And not have to dissect it entirely. And I know that also spits in the face of what this whole show is about sometimes, of you're watching this for our opinions and to share your own and everything. But I just feel like sometimes we're put in a position where it's really nitpick, really dig at why this could be bad, why this could not be cinema.
Well, I mean, my default position is to like the MCU. I'm a lifelong comic book reader.
Same.
I thought what the MCU did, beginning with Iron Man in 2008, was terrific. I love the Infinity Saga. And I'm somebody that, when I watched Eternals, I enjoyed Eternals. I didn't think it was a particularly great MCU movie.
No, but it's interesting.
But yeah, I was, that's exactly right. I was interested. I was enthralled. I loved what was going on there. And, a lot of people like, when you say something, it sucks. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Where's your media literacy? Give me something.
It's like the MCU, I'm pulling for it. Do I want Doomsday to be as good as Infinity War? I do. Do I think it will be? I don't know. I think it's predicated on a gimmick. I don't like that. Whereas
Same.
Infinity War and Endgame were earned over the course of the entire Infinity Saga. And I think that the problem with the MCU is their plan was weak going into the multiverse saga. They made the multiverse too nebulous. And now this movie has nothing really to do, as far as I understand, with that saga. So it's not even a movie that's connected to the greater MCU story that's
Yeah.
being played out. Except I would imagine there must be some kind of tie-in to Fantastic Four. Otherwise, that's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know
Absolutely.
what that's going to be, but you know, I want this movie to be good. I want to be entertained. You know,
Same here.
I do.
And if it is a quote unquote bottle episode for the MCU, I'm okay with that as long as it's interesting and we have some thread that we can pull at to connect everything ultimately.
Yeah.
And Ray, just to kind of put a little pep in your step, the chat is reminding us that there have been a lot of reviews that came out this week talking about how Lewis Pullman is excellent in this film.
Oh, yeah.
So we're getting good reviews about Bob.
Yeah,
So
Bob,
hopefully we're
baby.
doing some really good things with Sentry.
That's been
Yeah.
my life's goal. Good reviews about
Good
Bob.
reviews about Bob. Hey, Bob, you're great.
Thanks, babe.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Oh, I called you babe.
That's
Called
okay.
the colleague babe. Demonetized.
That's all right.
HR.
It's not fair though, because I do it to you all the time, and no one ever calls me out on calling you babe. And
No,
when you do it
it's
to
true.
me,
Rob,
people are like,
true.
"Don't call her babe."
You know, Rob actually, like, after you leave, Rob calls, it starts crying on her shoulders and is like, why does she always call me babe? I feel
Oh
so-"
no!
Yeah, all Rob.
I never
I
mean
know.
to.
Why you gotta out me like this on?
man.
I feel we have to be
International.
open now. You
We
know, to
do.
be open.
Streaming.
Communication is key for us to all move forward with strong relationships. All right. Otherwise, we're going to have to put an asterisk near our name. Well, guys, let us know how you're feeling about these numbers. All right. Does the percentage make sense given what the reviews are actually saying? How do you feel about the reviews? Is it moving the needle anyway, or are you still feeling how you feel about Thunderbolts? Let us know in the comments. All right.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.